It is a Tuesday. Ryan Miller, Dr. Courtney Taylor joins us at 8:05. Gregg Harper is on now with us. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good. The word is out now that Kevin O'Leary about the dangers of TikTok. Yesterday, Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary weighed in, saying that I'm not gonna get banned because I'm gonna buy it, is what he said. So more on that story a little later. We have polls open. It's 7:21. Your thought on the importance of this primary election?
Well, I think that a lot of people probably, with it being spring break, and we know that Trump's the nominee. A lot of people may decide not to go vote, but I encourage them to go. I mean, it's an important deal. Obviously, the one that's needs to take place is we need to make sure that Senator Roger Wicker wins today. He's been endorsed by President Trump, as you know. Elections, and that means that Senator Wickers is not going to be just an incumbent senator. He's going to be the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, and that's monumental not only for Mississippi but for the country. So I certainly encourage folks to go vote for Senator Wicker today and check the box for President Trump, and let's move on. And of course, you have others all over the state. I know Congressman Ezel's done a really great job during his term and certainly deserves to be reelected.
Greg, what do you think? Because there's so much going on as far as the House and Senate with people now. Now we've had some other people deciding not to run in the Senate, but it is a moving target. Do you feel pretty good about the Senate, or at least you seem to indicate to me that you think the Senate may go to the
We're going to get the Senate this time around. The House, if you had asked me this question maybe a month ago, I would have said, no, I don't think there's any way we're going to keep the House. I feel differently today, just based on what I've heard on the ground and seen over the last couple of visits. I was in D.C. The last 2 weeks. And I think there's an encouragement now, a number of places. We're going to pick up seats in North Carolina. The question is going to be, can we hold positions in New York State and also in California? So there are a number of things going on, a number of moving parts. If you can, like David Valadao, who's in a Republican in California, who's in a strong Democratic district, a large Hispanic population. But I think that there's a reasonable chance that the Republicans can hold the House. It's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy, but haven't given up on it. So I'm hopeful. I mean, we have to have it, but we certainly, if you can only have one thing, you have to have the Senate, and that's what we certainly need.
I do feel like there's been some energizing going on with the new leadership that took over for Ronna McDaniel, as far as Whatley and Laura Trump tweeted out the other day, or sent X post, saying that we're going to do harvest balloting. If they can do harvest balloting, we're going to get our people to do harvest balloting. We're going to do it legally, but if that's allowed, we're going to do it too. And I'm clapping in silence here, saying thank you. That's exactly what we need to do. We need to match them for what they're doing on the ground.
Allow. You know that the Democrats are going to be involved in that, and we need to be, toe to toe on that. And another thing too, Paul, back in 2000 in the Bush Gore recount, I was one of that group that went down to West Palm Beach on the recount, and then
Yeah.
I felt like we did a much better job in 2004. I was a legal volunteer for President Bush in Ohio, and we were there, a week or so ahead of time on the ground to make sure that everything was cool with the election commissioners in the area we were assigned. And I'm hopeful, I haven't been told, but I'm hopeful we'll have a large team of workers and observers, say in places like Fulton County, Georgia, and other places where we need to don't wait till there's a problem after the election. I'm hopeful that we'll be really pro.
In those swing states, they know exactly, they've lasered in on that area. How do you keep the Democrats from fixing this election by by harvesting some of the illegal votes? I mean, that's the whole game plan, and we know that. They don't have to worry about Mississippi and Alabama. They want to go target those, and they're going to have this almost as a tsunami. You can't pick out a couple of pails of water. It's amazing what they're planning on doing. How do you stop that?
Yeah, well, the old saying, Paul, is you have to win by more than somebody can cheat by. And so you certainly need a really big.
I'm wondering how much that is, because Trump has said that it's got to be too big to rig, and that's
Yeah,
a perfect statement for that.
well, we wish the whole country would do it like Mississippi. We really are. Do a better job than most on making sure our voter rolls are accurate. And so, I mean, I commend our state for doing it right. And but you
I
have to
agree
make
with
sure
you.
you guard against these things. But yeah, Paul, it's always a concern because look, that's all you want is a fair and correct election. You want to make sure it's done properly, and you do not want people voting that are not entitled to vote. If
Yeah.
you are legally entitled to vote, then you get to vote. But if you're not, and what I think one of the biggest issues has been, and it's a COVID residual, is those states that allowed for ballots to be mailed to every registered voter. And so we heard lots of on the ground reports of somebody living somewhere for a year and they got 3 ballots for
Yeah.
themselves
Oh,
and
yeah. Power in Washington to stop this thing about counting illegals in the next census. I do want to ask you this in the limited time we have this morning. Michael Watson's coming on next. Is this does it is it a crapshoot now on just seniority that we're hoping on? Because with a new minority or majority leader, with Mitch McConnell stepping down, no chairmanship is guaranteed as
well,
far as Roger Wicker is concerned.
no, I think it's I would say that it's absolutely guaranteed if the Senate, uh,
Mm.
if the Senate goes to Republican control, and regardless of whether it's Cornyn or Thune as the new majority leader, Roger Wicker is going to be the next chair of the Senate Armed Services Committee. So I think it's critical. Critical, and it will certainly be very important to the country. So yeah, I think Wicker's a lock, uh, and regardless of whether Thune or Cornyn, because I know he's close to both of those.
Why do you mention those two? Are those two the de facto there? I mean, that's what we're talking about now.
Yes, and I think
Hmm.
Cornyn has a great history of raising a lot of money. That sort of
Yeah.
gives him an edge. But I believe that John Thune, if I were a betting man, would be the next majority leader for the U.S. Senate, and he's a
How
great
about
great
that?
guy,
Yeah.
great
He's
guy.
from what state?
Oh gosh, one of the is it North Dakota or South Dakota? I can't
North.
remember
I bet.
which.
I bet
It's
it'd be
someplace I
North
haven't
Dakota.
visited,
Yeah.
Paul. But he's a
Uh,
solid person and one of my favorites up there.
Anything else going on? We have a couple of seconds.
president and for Senator Roger Wicker. And if you're down on the coast, I'd certainly encourage you to go vote for Mike Ezell.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it very much. Greg Harper,
Always a
former
pleasure.
Congressman. Thanks, Greg. You got
Great
it.
to see you, Paul.
We have Secretary of State Michael Watson. Any info as far as the elections, which are now 31 minutes into the primaries, and the polls close at 7 o'clock tonight? Full coverage, even tomorrow morning on the website. You'll catch it all, and we'll have it bright and early at 6 a.m.